Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news, and I'm sure the debate is going to rage tonight as we've got a lot of things we're going to be talking about. Ronaldo, a few updates from Fabrizio Romano, Antony as well, a few comments about Erik Ten Hag. Obviously, I think it would be ridiculous as a community not to hit head on some of the things that I've actually been disgusted about since that game. The reaction towards David De Gea I find quite disgusting. Not the criticism, just the disgusting behaviour of some of our fans. I mean, I think they're absolute hypocrites, and I'm not going to stay quiet about it. I might not please a lot of people with what I'm going to say. Some people might agree, some people might disagree, but I'm not going to. We've been doing this for 7 years. Like, I don't know what people think this community is, but it's definitely not one where we all agree, and it's going to be one of those nights I think tonight. So, you know, fasten your seatbelts, let's do it. That's what we're here for. I'm not here to shirk away from comments, I'm not here to shirk away from opinions, but I think there's a few home truths that need to be banged home, and I'm looking forward to it. But before we get into that, we've got some positive news. We're going to talk about Antony. So let's go with where this started. It actually started from a completely different source, but I suppose the most reliable one that we've seen so far is coming in from James Robson, who is saying that Manchester United are proposing to prepared to go above 51 million for Antony, but won't go as high as Ajax's asking price of 68 million. Now, we've always been quite briefed on this. Welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much, United Nick. Can I just say as well, before we get into the whole show, you might see pinned at the top of the chat, Saturday Night Heat movie watch along. The reason I'm a little bit early tonight, we will go through till about 8:30, but I'm on Twitch doing a movie watch along tonight, which I'm really looking forward to. Heat's one of my favourite films of all time. If you want to tune in and watch that film with me, kick back with a bowl of popcorn or whatever, we'll be doing a Heat film watch along. If you've never watched it, watch it. If you have watched it, then yeah, it'll be a good watch along. So that's why we're a little bit early. I've dropped the link in the chat for that. But welcome to the Members Club, Patrick. We've always been quite well briefed on the Antony story from his side. So the story is this: Ajax are playing. I stand with De Gea and Goldbridge. You stand where you like, Mikel Roach. I don't care. I think at the end of the day, it's all about opinion, isn't it? So great hoodie, says Gene. If you want to get one, I think it's in our Shopify shop. You can get it shipped worldwide. Duncan Castle's Ronaldo story. I have read it, Rohit. We'll talk about that in a minute. So we're talking about Antony first. Welcome to the Members Club, Dynam. So effectively, what the situation with this story is what I was told this evening, and I did tweet it out as well. I think I got hair in my mouth. It's quite annoying. Is that, yeah? So effectively, Manchester United are not going to walk away from this Antony deal. They want to sign him. They don't want to pay the £69 million that Ajax want. And they're willing to negotiate. Now, Ajax want 69 million. They're very determined to get 69 million. They don't want to sell him, and they're determined that they'll get what they want, because that's what happened with Lisandro Martinez, where the whole deal is £55 million for an Eredivisie centre-back. Now, I'm excited about Lisandro Martinez, but I'll argue it with anybody. We've overpaid. You should never be paying £55 million for an Eredivisie centre-back. I mean, it's only 20 less than what Liverpool paid for Van Dijk. It's only 25 less than what we paid for Maguire. So we have been overcharged by Ajax, and therefore they believe that they can get, £70 million out of us for Ajax. United are determined not to pay that. And if we don't pay that, then there's a chance we won't get him. There is a feeling from Ajax that they will keep him, but he's not for sale. And I think there's a big difference here. There's a lot of outlets and fans close to Ajax saying, you're not going to get him, you're not going to get him. He's not, but the thing is, he's not for sale. They're acting like, oh, we're not going to sell another player. He is for sale. Like, if someone gives you 70 million, your club will sell him. So he is for sale. Maybe you're trying to price him out of a move, but he is for sale. Now, what I was told this evening is that Man United feel that they don't want to walk away from this deal at the moment. They feel that they can negotiate. Ajax are very adamant that they want the money that they want. But the situation from the players' side is, and his agent as well, which is more important, is that he wants Ajax, or they want Ajax to negotiate with Manchester United. And they want them to negotiate at a fair price. They do not want to be priced out of a move when they want to leave. And if you get that down to the granular detail, effectively, if I'm Antony and Ajax own me and Man United want me, I want to go to Man United. I want to be respectful to Ajax, and if Man United offers something ridiculously low, I understand why Ajax won't sell me. But if United make a generous offer that's reasonable and Ajax say no, then I'm pissed off. with Ajax, and I'm saying, look, that's not right. I've given you good years. You're going to make good profit on me, and I want to go. And you are basically saying I'm not for sale, like I don't want to go. I want to go. I want to be respectful. Let's negotiate this deal. And it's a similar situation to Lisandro Martinez. So for me, I feel, and look, nobody's told me this deal's going to happen, but knowing those things, I think United can only mess this up, or Ajax can mess it up. I mean, Ajax, imagine Man United offer a deal that's worth 60 million and Ajax say no. I just don't think Antony and his agents are going to sit there and go, that's fine. I think, what people don't realise is that as footballers, are United going to go and get a different alternative to Antony? Yes. Will United come back in for Antony in a year's time? Probably not. Do Liverpool come in for him? Probably not. Like another year in the Eredivisie, there could be someone else who's more attractive. So this could be his big chance, and he doesn't want to miss out on this chance. So watch this space. I certainly think there's reason to be positive, but look, there's reason to be positive. Ten Hag wants him. He wants to come to us. Ajax wants a big price, and United are crap at negotiating. You could say there's very much reason to be worried as well. Hi Mark, who was the last United player the club bought young and cheap, then developed and sold for a lot more, says Kia. I don't know why I'm getting the name Ronaldo. I don't know why I'm getting the name Ronaldo there. We'll talk about De Gea in a bit, George. Don't start winding me up when I've got other things to talk about, because I do want to get into that debate, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. You know it's coming. Bobby Davro's just signed for Chelsea. Why weren't we in for him, says Manchester. That's where we're at with Antony. Let's just wait and see. But it is established news. It is good news. And I still remain 50-50. A lot of people said to me today, you're going to increase. United have got to increase their bid. I know the player wants to come. You know the player wants to come. You know Ten Hag wants him. You know Ajax will sell. United have got to create a situation that's ready to go, and that's what they have to do. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. What is a realistic fee for Antony? I think that's a good question from Mikael Roach. I think 60 million is completely fair. Completely fair. And I don't mind us going towards 70 million if it's add-ons, but an initial fee, I think, 50, 55, 60 at a push, but we shouldn't be going at anything over that, really. I would like to see us pay 55 million with add-ons, to be honest. I think that's a fair deal, but we'll have to wait and see. I suppose the positive is that we are in for him, and the positive is that he wants to come, and the positive is that Erik Ten Hag wants him. And I think we've had a few hours now to digest the tour. To be honest, I've parked the tour. The tour is over. I'm now thinking, well, we learned bits from the tour, but it's in the draw. What's in 2 weeks is the start of the Premier League season, and I saw in that second half that as much as there's a lot of positivity, it doesn't take much for us to slip back into what we were last year. And I suppose now the game has finished and I've had a bit of time to think about it. I'm like, you know what happened today? The shine came off a little bit. Everything's been shiny and new, and I think the shine came off. And the reason the shine came off is because that team is still the same set of players that let us down last year. And they've got a lot of... I'm not saying they can't do it, but they easily slipped back into, shit, let's go defensive, let's make mistakes. And it's going to take time, and they're going to make mistakes when the season starts. Look, I hope they go and win the first 10 games, but I don't know about that. I really don't know. So that's the situation with Antony, which moves us on to the situation with Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I think it was 3 weeks ago that Duncan Castle's Times said that Cristiano Ronaldo had handed in a transfer request. I didn't really believe it at the time. He was proved to be right. And I think when somebody's proved to be right, you've got to put that respect there. 3 weeks later, he's coming out with another story that Atletico Madrid are ready to part ways with Antoine Griezmann to pave the way for Cristiano Ronaldo's return to the Spanish capital. So I think, being as this was the person who broke the story in the first place 3 weeks ago, I think you've got to sit up and take notice of that. Now, Fabrizio Romano also said this afternoon that Erik Ten Hag desperately wants to have a meeting with Cristiano Ronaldo and try and resolve this issue. Whether that can happen or not, George Mendes is still going to spend the next few weeks trying to find a solution for Cristiano Ronaldo to leave Manchester United. Now, remember, a year ago, Cristiano Ronaldo started the season for Juventus, but still ended August as a non-Juventus player. This has dangerous echoes of what happened a year ago, and the determination of Cristiano Ronaldo and George Mendes to get him out of the club presents Manchester United with a real issue. Now, we spoke last night about Scamacca going to West Ham. I find it difficult that if Ronaldo goes, we're missing out on targets that actually would be viable replacements. I fear that United are not prepared for what is about to happen. I feel that United are adamant that he's not for sale and they're going to keep him, which is great if we don't sell him. But if we do sell him and we do what Juventus did, we're screwed, because what's the replacement? If you lose your player of the year and your top scorer, no matter how talented they are, and Ronaldo is very talented, you've got to have a contingency plan that is not a panic plan at the end of August. You cannot replace Ronaldo with an Ighalo. You cannot replace Ronaldo with a Cavani. You've got to replace Ronaldo with somebody that will score you goals. You cannot replace Ronaldo with Martial and then just bring a backup striker in. Like, you've got to replace Ronaldo with a Ronaldo. And I don't think you can do that. So I am somewhat concerned about the Ronaldo situation, because we need Ronaldo. We do. I don't care what anybody says. We do. Because he scored 18 goals in a shit side. He still is one of the better strikers in European football. And, all right, doesn't want to be at our club, let's kick him out. I don't believe that. Don't agree with that. But if you're going to do that, don't give me Antony. Don't give me somebody who's, like, not proven. Give me a proven striker, because that's what we're losing. And take the emotion out of it. Take what you think about Ronaldo out of it. You don't replace your top scorer and best player with Antony. You just don't do that. That's not progression. This. You know what? This is in danger of being exactly what it was like the first time, on a watered down level. But when Ronaldo left the first time, we'd won the Premier League, I think, 3 years in a row. We've been in the Champions League final 2 years in a row. We let Ronaldo go, and we replaced him with Michael Owen or Valencia. I can't remember who it was. Like, we can't make that same mistake again. I know we're not Premier League contenders and we've not been in the Champions League, but you cannot not replace quality like that. You know, we let Ander Herrera walk out the door. We never replaced him. Pogba and Matic have not been replaced. Whatever you think about those players, you can't not replace them, and you can't not replace Cristiano Ronaldo. So that is something that I think we've definitely got to do if that's going to happen. Now, I'm still very much of the opinion that the club are trying to keep him at the club. And I think we've got to dig in here. Ten Hag said it a week ago. He said it again. He's planning for the season with him, and he wants to talk to him, and he's not for sale. Well, we don't sell him then. I'm absolutely comfortable with getting to September the 1st and him being a United player. Because Ronaldo's 37. He can kick and scream and do as much as he likes. But once it hits September the 1st, he ain't not going to play ahead of the World Cup. And he is not old enough. He's too old to sit in the reserves. So there will be a solution. Fasten in and get to that solution. That's what I would say to United. It's not viable for us to sell him. There is no viable alternative to Cristiano Ronaldo. And even if you think Martial is, who's the backup? Keep him. Make him stay. Dig in. Be a big club. That's what I'm hoping for. But I tell you what, I'm 50-50 on that as well. I do not see anything but Ronaldo leaving, says Sean Turner. If one player can get a move, it's him. He's had direct talks with Simeone, then putting Griezmann on the market. It's just a matter of time, says Sean. I mean, I suppose the thing is, would you swap Griezmann for Ronaldo? No. I really wouldn't. I haven't rated Griezmann for a long time, and Griezmann led us up the garden path a few years ago. I fear Ten Hag has seriously overestimated our current standing in world football, says Newt. He's looking at players who would be mad to come here presently, but he seems to think we can attract them. I'm a little bit worried. So tell you what, it's a big 2 weeks. It's a big 6 weeks, really, till the end of the window. But it is a big 2 weeks, because if we fail to get Antony and De Jong and we lose Ronaldo, it's an absolute car crash of the transfer window. He didn't get his first choice centre-back. He didn't get Darwin Núñez. He doesn't get his first choice midfielder. He doesn't get his first choice attack winger in Antony. And then he loses his star player. I mean, I said this before, it doesn't matter how good a coach you are if you're not getting the support and the backing of the club. And at the moment, he's not getting the full support and backing of the club, which is abysmal for a new manager. Can we do a Griezmann swap? I don't want a Griezmann swap, Akshay. If you've watched Griezmann play lately, I mean, Griezmann didn't even play against us, did he? Like, when we played Atletico Madrid, he didn't even play against us. So I mean, he wasn't a starter anyway. So I think you're thinking about Griezmann, the clappy guy off FIFA. He ain't that player anymore. The club can refuse to sell Ronaldo. He has a contract and he will be professional and play his best because of the World Cup. I would push that line as well, Majek, to be honest with you. That's what I would be looking to do. So yeah, look, on Ronaldo, let's wait and see. I don't think any of us can be blinkered on the fact that he wants to leave the club. I mean, there was a time where I hoped that that wasn't the case, but I'm wide open that needs to be acknowledged. I do understand why he wants to leave as well, but he I don't like the fact that he wants to leave, but I understand that. We've got to be mature about it. We've got to do what's best for us. And I think what's best for us is that Ronaldo stays at the football club. I get that we've got a few people in the chat and online that absolutely expose themselves as British bias fans. I will talk about that again in a minute. I find it really hard to understand how club greats who've actually delivered are suddenly sworn at and told to get out of our club and spoken about in such a vile manner. But we'll talk about that in a bit as well. I've seen some of the stuff that's been said about Ronaldo over the last 2 weeks, and David De Gea as well. And a lot of these people who do it are the same people that get onto me and say that I'm the reason that Harry Maguire gets booed in Australia. And I think, hold on a minute. So you're right up the arse of an English player that's never won anything at the club, but you can't wait to get rid of people like David De Gea and Ronaldo. Wonder why that is. Can't quite put my finger on it, but there is a theme. Anyway, we'll come on to that in a bit. Let's talk about some more news. So on De Jong, if you're interested in De Jong, this is an update from Ronaldo. United have not Ronaldo. Yeah, Ronaldo's given us an update on De Jong. Romano's given us an update on De Jong. And it's not much of an update, to be honest with you. United have agreed the fee with Barcelona. Barcelona want to sell. United want to buy. But Frenkie de Jong has still got no intention of leaving Barcelona. Which I would add a sentence to that. He's got no intention of leaving Barcelona until Barcelona pay him the money he's owed. So nothing is changing on Frenkie de Jong. Apparently he's not very happy with this situation, but nothing is changing. Braden says, I really wish United would go in for Valencia and Usman. I don't know who that is. Holding midfield. I don't know what you're talking about there, Braden. I don't know the players. I can't talk about them. Our most important bit of our summer is trying to get De Jong and keeping Ronaldo. Neither of them want to play for United. That's what the Glazers have done to our club, says Sean Turner. We'll never forget the true cause of Manchester United's issues, and we all know that that is the Glazers. Updates that you might be interested in from Romano that maybe not be as glamorous as talking about De Jong or Antony or Ronaldo, but they are 4 updates that are worth mentioning. Anthony Martial will stay for another season. There had been interest in him, but Erik ten Hag is insistent that he stays. The most important thing with Anthony Martial is not what Erik ten Hag wants. It's not what Manchester United want. It's what he wants. Ralf Rangnick wanted Anthony Martial to stay in January, and I think we all wish he bloody had, considering what happened with Greenwood, Rashford's loss of form, Cavani injured, only having Ronaldo. It would have been useful to have Martial, and Rangnick wanted him to stay, but Martial was like, I want to go. There's a difference now. It doesn't matter what Ten Hag wants if Martial wants to go. Martial wants to stay. He's got a smile on his face. So that's a positive. We've got Martial for the year. I think the most important thing, and there's a video I did back in May that's well worth a watch if you want to, but what I basically said was that it's about convincing Martial to stay. He wanted to go. He adamantly wanted out of United in January full time. He never wanted to come back. The fact that he now wants to be part of it is a real slap on the back for Erik ten Hag and his ability to persuade, which is why I'd love him to have a chat with Ronaldo. Our backup striker was Hannibal. How scary is that, says Donald. Hi Mark, thanks for all the grime this summer. I think Ronaldo likes Erik ten Hag. However, he sees the board aren't backing him and it loses Ronaldo's trust in the club. Yeah, CR7 man, I think you're absolutely correct. Is there a proven striker out there available if Ronaldo leaves? No, Berry, there isn't, and I think that's a major problem really. Rashford, Romano was talking about Rashford. I mean, he stays. Well, I think we all know that. Rashford's very happy with Ten Hag and wants to stay at the club. He has only got 1 year left on his contract with the option of another year. I suspect we will be working on a new contract for Rashford. Whether he deserves it or not is up for discussion, but that is certainly in the works. Romano also said that Donny will stay for another year. I've got to say, I don't know whether that's good or bad news at the moment, and I'm a massive fan of Donny van der Beek, but I don't know. I'm hoping with Donny that there's still a massive problem with Donny. I mean, I watched him today. I thought in the first half he was good. Erik ten Hag even said in the first half that Donny was good. There's absolutely no way you can dominate a midfield of McGinn, Ramsey and Kamara with Fred. Like, it doesn't work 1 against 3. I heard a journalist say that Van de Beek was ghosting in the first half, and I was like, okay, he's not playing as the number 10. He's playing in a midfield 2. How can you ghost in a midfield 2 and dominate a midfield with 3 people in it? Ramsey never got a touch in the first half. That was Van de Beek's man. I think so many people watch football and analyse football on goals, assists and big moments, and their brain just doesn't compute what a coach computes, which is movement, shape, doing the unstructured job, making runs, making space, tracking players off the ball so they can't get the ball, interceptions. Like, I watched the game back about an hour ago on Fast Play, and I specifically watched the first half and the first 15 minutes, and Villa's midfield couldn't do anything. Well, it wasn't. Fred can't do that on his own. They did it as a 2, but unfortunately, we've got all these experts who, because Donny van de Beek didn't have a shot, didn't run past 3 players, didn't get an assist, didn't make a crunching sliding tackle, nobody appreciates what he actually was doing in the first half. And he did have a good half, and Erik ten Hag wouldn't lie. And he did have a good half. It's the Carrick thing for me with some people who watch football. They don't appreciate the job people do in an understated role. And it's like the centre-back who doesn't win headers and doesn't make last-ditch tackles, but then never loses their man because they're marking them. Like, a lot of football, a lot of coaches are analysing things that are not happening. Like, if you're Pep Guardiola and you're analysing a Man City game, all right, you've got to follow the ball and how the ball moves, but you're also following what's happening off the ball because there's 11 people. They're not all touching the ball at the same time. And what about when you haven't got the ball? It's not the person who's tackling the ball. What about your other midfielder who's tracking a run so that that passing lane is closed? People don't analyse football in that way because it's actually quite hard to do. But it's not always about the tackle. It's not always about the pass. Sometimes it's about the run. Sometimes it's about tracking a run and covering somebody so that they can't receive the ball. You're never going to notice that if you don't know how to read that. And this is why I say Martial's performance today wasn't good, but it wasn't really his fault. He made the runs. He did his job. He didn't get the ball. He can't get the ball if the ball doesn't come to him. With the levers that Barcelona have activated, why don't they just pay off Frankie de Jong levers? Are getting in cash in the club, but doesn't help reduce their wage bill unless they sell players, says Mojo. Good point. Part of me is worried that if Ronaldo stays, will he be unsettled in the squad? SK, wonder if rules around Erik ten Hag not wanting to speak to agents, chefs bother him, says SK. Why would Ronaldo go to Atletico and ruin his Real Madrid legacy just for one season of Champions League football? It seems silly. Maybe he doesn't care, Majak. Maybe he thinks Real Madrid will come in like we did when he tried to go to City. United States men's national team Musa is the CDM and plays for Valencia. English fans will learn in the World Cup. Cheers, though, says Braden. Well, there you go. Thank you, Braden, for the clarity there. Important to remember with Donny, he's barely played in 2 years. He's going to need some extra time to get up to match pace against us, Joshua. That's my hope with Donny, but I'm going to absolutely be honest here and say, look, Romano says he's not leaving. He's here for another year, and Ten Hag's really excited to work with him. My hope is that there is a player who's lacking confidence, who's going to take time. He's almost like a new signing, isn't he, really? I know it's a cliche. But I also agree with, can you see Donny getting in the first team, which is what he wants to do. And at the moment, it's very difficult. Look, I prefer Donny and Fred to Fred and McTominay. I don't think McTominay improves us today at all. But, it's difficult to predict he's going to have a bright future, if I'm honest. I think we should keep Palestri, Mabry, Garnacho, and not loaning them. We should keep the young talents for squad depth, Donny or Ronaldo for captain, says Drag. Garnacho is going to stay and get a new contract. That was the other thing that Fabrizio Romano said. Mark, I think Donny needs to run the team. I still think he's world class, says Mikael Roach. And Mark, how much insight into this squad's limits do you think Erik ten Hag will get from the performance against Villa? Well, I think if you listen to what Erik ten Hag said, Stephen, Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe, bottom right hand corner, by the way. We're live a little bit early tonight because, as you can see at the top of the live chat, I'm actually kicking back at 8:30 and doing a film watch along on Twitch. So if you want to join in for that, I've left you the link in the description. So I hope a few of you will join me. But I think listening to what Ten Hag said after the game, he was happy with the first half. I think he was putting a positive spin on that. I don't think it was as good a half as some people want to think it is. I watched it again, like I say, and we had a lot of possession, and it wasn't good possession. We didn't create chances with it. We only caused Villa problems when we transitioned quickly, and we didn't do that enough. There was a few, worrying relapses, I suppose. We had that shot from Rashford, which was just wild. We had a couple of Hollywood passes from Bruno. We had a few diagonal high balls from Maguire and Lindelof, which just reminds me of Ollie. And Martial was isolated, which reminds me of Ollie. So I think that the first half was decent, but it wasn't actually as good as I think some people think it was. But we did control the game. And we did have nearly 70% possession, and we had more shots, and we had nearly double the passes that Villa did. So the fundamentals were in place, and we wouldn't have been doing that under Solskjaer. So I take that as an improvement, a massive improvement, and I think that's the thing from the tour I take the most. The second half may as well have been Solskjaer back in charge, and I think Ten Hag basically highlighted that. He said, at half time, you've got to go out and do it again. And unfortunately, this happened a lot last season, and it's not as easy to solve because it's a mental thing. Last season, this happened a lot. We were one half team, and then the second half, we couldn't replicate it. Funnily enough, the same thing happened at Villa Park. We were 2-0 up against Villa, and it was probably one of the better performances. I think Villa Park away in January was one of our best halves of football of the season. Then the second half, we just threw it away, and we drew 2-2. So I think that, unfortunately and fortunately, we saw the worst of United again in the second half. It wasn't terrible, but it was the same old United, not putting the effort in, getting overrun, retreating deeper towards the goalkeeper. And these are things that Ten Hag doesn't want. So he's got a bit of work to do, but I'm glad he's got that work to do. I don't think anyone can say that, that's not a good thing. We're going to have bumps in the road, and I think he needs to see the bumps in the road, because the issue is, as a manager, you're always going to be focused on what you do. And Ten Hag can watch all the videos he likes last year of Rangnick and Solskjaer's Man United, but that's not happened to him. So in your mind, you're going, well, that won't happen to me. Well, it happened to him today as the manager, and that will sharpen his mind. And he's a very attentive, obsessive coach, so I think it's a good thing, really. And I'm excited to see what happens. I mean, I'm sort of in that position now, and I've said it a few times on the show, and I don't know what you think, that if I had to make my prediction now and I'm ready to do it, I was sort of like, sitting on the fence a bit, saying it's really hard to predict where we're going to finish. I think at the moment, my prediction is that we're fifth. We're fighting for fifth with Arsenal. That's where I think we are at the moment. But a lot of things can move the needle on that. If Ronaldo stays, if we do get De Jong, if we do get Antony, if Lisandro Martinez goes straight into the team, I think there's 4 or 5 players that can go in that first team and make us a lot better. And then I don't think we are fighting for fifth. We might be fighting for fourth or third. Who knows? But at the moment, where we are, I think we're in that sort of fifth spot at the moment. And that would be my prediction. And I hope I'm completely wrong about that. But that's where I think we are. And it's got nothing to do with Erik Ten Hag. I really like Ten Hag. And even if it goes wrong next season, and I really hope it doesn't, but even if it goes wrong next season, at least we won't be playing crap football. Like, he's going to try and make us play good football. It might not work, but we should be entertained, and that's what I want to see. So, but if he is going to, the reason I'm saying we might struggle a little bit next season is because I look at that starting lineup today, and there's no new signing in it. And even in the second half, there's only one new signing in it, and that's Malacia. He can literally only play one new signing on tour. We need to get some signings in. We really, really do. Would you do an Atletico swap for Griezmann? I think we come off worse with that deal. I really do. Griezmann's not the player he was, and effectively, Griezmann really is. I don't really think Griezmann is a player that we need. I don't. I think he's not an out-and-out striker. He's more of a he's more of a false nine, and therefore he's more of a Bruno, Donny. You know, we've got a lot of players like that. I mean, you could even say he's a bit of a Sancho as well. He's a technical player. I think if you lose Ronaldo, I would like to have seen us go for a Scamacca rather than a Griezmann. An out-and-out striker is what we need. We don't need another intricate sort of... I mean, Dybala was the same. Dybala for Ronaldo. Well, is Dybala a prolific goal scorer who plays straight down the middle? No, he's not. He's another intricate player. You know, Bruno could play through the middle if you're going to play Dybala or Griezmann there. So, I mean, maybe Bruno will end up doing that. Maybe Eriksen plays at 10 and you do use Bruno in that. I mean, it's not ideal, but I wouldn't go for that. Juma says Ronaldo's not a striker. Where have you been for the last 6 years, mate? I've got a bit. You might be surprised. Have you been in a coma? Apparently, Ronaldo's not a striker. Anybody? Okay, Cristiano Ronaldo's not a striker. Yeah, he didn't play as a number 9 for Manchester United all season last season, did he? Not a striker though. Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's where we are, sort of like in the latest news, I suppose. Which moves us on to the bit that I think many people want to talk about, I suppose. And we're going to hit it head on. I mean, this is what we're here to do. So I want to talk about. I want to talk about the reaction to David De Gea, which has disgusted me today. Really has. I'm absolutely disgusted by it. I know I'm in the minority, but you know what? I'm not afraid to say what I think, because I think it, and I need to get it off my chest. So I've watched the goal that we conceded in a pre-season friendly, in a friendly that means nothing, where David De Gea doesn't do particularly well on a last-minute corner. And then I've seen the reaction to it, and you would think he has just cost us the Champions League final and has got no money in the bank with the fan base at all. You would not think that he's just made a mistake. You would think that this is a player that is absolutely hated by some of our fans, and some of the words. I mean, I'm not going to repeat them on here. I mean, you know, TikTok definitely needs to be regulated, because some of the language and things that people say. Now, I know I've said stuff about players in the past, but it's always... That's why I do the analogies, because it's tinged with banter. It's vile, some of the stuff that's been said about David De Gea today. Absolutely vile. And that is never about a mistake in a pre-season friendly. That is boxed up, stored and ready to go. That is wrapped up and ready to go. They've been waiting for that. Because you do not react like some people have reacted to a pre-season friendly mistake from a corner. It's absolutely everything. I have had people telling me he can't pass. His distribution... I've watched the game back again. His distribution was absolutely fine. Absolutely fine today. Distribution was actually good. I've heard people saying he's shitting one-on-ones. Okay, he's one of the best shot stoppers. I just absolutely cannot understand the dislike for David De Gea. And I think it's dangerous. I think it's really, really dangerous, because this is a player that was, for me, very close to being our player of the year last year. And nobody can tell me different. He played well last year. I think we would have been mid-table without David De Gea. He actually factually played well last year, and he actually factually saved us about 12 points. So we would have been in a lot worse position without him. He's definitely got money in the bank coming into this season. He definitely deserves a chance with our fan base. He's definitely not a player that's in the same category as some people who are being championed for their pre-season form, who down tools or got out the club last year. And I don't need to name those names. He's also a player that has won numerous players of the year over the last decade and has actually won trophies for us. I just think at some points, as a United fan, you've got to understand what your club is. At some point, there has to be a respect for a player that's actually delivered. You can want him to leave. You can want him not to be the goalkeeper. But I think there's a level of class that we need to maintain as a fan base. And I haven't seen it today. I've seen some absolutely vile reaction to a pre-season friendly mistake. And it worries me, because that is bottled up. There are people who... That's not a reaction to a mistake in a pre-season game. That is actually bottled up anger, frustration and agenda against the player. And I find it disgusting. I also find it disgusting similar reactions to Cristiano Ronaldo, who has been at this club twice and has twice been a fundamental success at our club on different levels. Ronaldo was a Ballon d'Or winner. He single-handedly helped us win a league one year. He got us to a Champions League final. He won us a Champions League final as part of a very good team. And then last year, he was our best player in a shit team. You can never question Cristiano Ronaldo's dedication to a Manchester United shirt. And yet, I see Ronaldo and De Gea treated worse than some players who may as well have wiped their arse with the shirt last year. And that is where I step in and say, I continually question why it is certain people, and you can include ex-players, media and fans in this, and it is a minority, but it's a vocal minority, clearly shout out foreign players over their mates or over English players, because you're not all mates with them. And it is an issue, and I don't know how you solve that issue. I don't know how that issue occurs. But the most important thing I want to say about this is, because I don't want to turn this into, I'm Team De Gea, I don't like Maguire. I'm Team Martial, but I don't really rate McTominay. I don't want to do that, because this guy is our manager. And I think it's so important that we do not fall into the mistakes of the last few years, of which I have been part. You know, people will be going, well, you've said this, I have said those things. I would like to think that I haven't been ridiculously vile, but then again, there may well be clips of me doing that, in which case I apologise. I'm not pretending my farts don't smell. But what I am saying at this point is that this football club has a new manager, and I am seeing mistakes of the past being brought into the new era. I am seeing things like what I've seen today with David De Gea. I have seen the way that Ronaldo has been spoken about. I have seen today, when I gave Harry Maguire a 7 out of 10, I've been accused of being on drugs, pissed, needing to go to the hospital. You know, have you got heat stroke? And I'm like, we're not doing ourselves any favours. And I suppose the De Gea one hits harder for me, because I can accept he should come for that corner. I actually do think he was fouled. I do. I don't think it was a hard foul, but I do think he was obstructed. I think the Villa player was very clever. But I think he should do better. I accept that. But I also think he's a very good goalkeeper, and I think he will have a very good season for us. I do not buy into the torrent of abuse. But what I really, really, really think is dangerous is how we can take our greats and shit on them. And that's not what a United fan is for me. I think United fans, we know about our history. We know about Best and Law and Charlton. And we know about the Busby Babes. And we know about Brian Robson. And we know about Roy Keane. And we know about Sir Alex Ferguson. And we know about these players. And we know about this club. And it matters. And if you've delivered in a United shirt, it matters. Because God knows there's a lot of players that haven't delivered over the last 10 years. And I just think you can think a player's not up to it. You can analyse their game and say they need to be better. But don't tell me that you are a proper United fan when you are shitting on players like I've heard this summer. And I don't mean Maguire or Shaw or Bruno. I mean greats, Ronaldo's, De Gea's. They have earned their right to be where they are. And I think they deserve a little bit of respect. And I don't think you should be shitting on them to the level that you are on some other players. And I actually think it's probably time that we tried not to do any of that anyway, because I don't think it helps the new manager. And people will be screaming in the chat saying, but you've done this with Maguire. Okay, I've done it with Maguire. I've got an agenda with Maguire, have I? I gave him 7 out of 10 today. 6 is average. I gave him 7 out of 10 because I thought he was a 7 out of 10. And I got pelters for it. But you know what? I've watched it back again and I'm going to give him 7 out of 10. I thought he did okay today. I think he did better okay. I don't think he was brilliant, but I think, at the end of the day, boost his confidence a bit. 7 out of 10. Let's see what he can do. But that's not an agenda, because I could easily have given him a 5 and people would have gone, high 5, he's shit, he's a slabhead, he's rubbish, get out of our club. But I don't believe those things. I actually thought he was a 7 out of 10 today. So, look, if I can do it, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I will call it out because I don't think it's right. I think we have to try and give this manager everything we can. And I think to do that, we've got to try and forget and move on with things that are clearly still stored up in this fan base. And I'm telling you now, there is absolutely no logical way that you can treat a United great who was one of our best players last season like that, because he makes a mistake on a corner in a pre-season friendly. That was boxed up, ready to go from last season. And I tell you what, I get shit, people get shit, and yet I've got nothing boxed up from last season. I don't trust a lot of these players because of last season, but I ain't got it boxed up. If they play well, I'll tell them they played well. If they play shit, I'll say they played shit. But I won't box things up. And that De Gea reaction was boxed up, ready to go. Some of the stuff I've been sent is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Some of the names he was called is disgusting for any human being to have, let alone for a United fan to be saying it about a United great who was one of our best players last year. He misjudges a bloody cross, and okay, he needs to work on it, I agree. But it's disgusting. And I don't know why I don't know why you're watching football. I don't know why you're buying United stuff. I don't know why you're watching United if you're speaking about a player like that. Like, I don't know. It's almost like football has become, and I've mentioned this a few times, it's rife at a certain club 5 years ago, and it's rife at our club now. It's forgotten what a player's done at the club. It doesn't matter. It's about pitting two players together and picking a side. And this is about Henderson versus De Gea again. Let's be honest, there is a cult of Henderson that hates De Gea, and it's destructive to the football club. We're also going to see it with Shaw and Malacia, by the way. I guarantee you that one's coming, and it's destructive. We'll probably see it with Bruno and Eriksen. We might see it with Martial and Ronaldo. We'll see it if Antony comes in. It'll probably be Antony against Rashford. It's just rife in the whole football club, and it's been going on for a long time. And I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I have preferences. I'll put my hands up to that. But there's nothing that's going to stop me from saying a United player's played well, even if I think they're crap. I remember saying, I don't want Matic. Bag of cement, don't want Matic at the club at all. He started off okay, and I said, look, maybe I've got it wrong. Then he went crap. I went, no, bag of cement, he's a load of shit. And then about 6 months later, he suddenly just, his game changed. And I was like, you know what? He's turned it around. All I want is 20 United players to consistently be good. And if we play Brighton and Malacia as the left back, and he plays against Brentford, and then Ten Hag decides because Malacia has never played against Salah before and Shaw's done well against him, he picks Shaw. I ain't going to be there when the team news going out. Oh, God, what's he picking Shaw for? Oh, fuck off. Get down, Greg Shaw, you idiot. All the vile stuff that comes out. I'll just be like, I rate Shaw, I rate Malacia. The manager's gone with what he wants to do. That's all I want. That's all I want. And the same thing works again. Look, I'd rather Varane played with Lisandro Martinez, but if in a certain game we're away to Everton and he brings Maguire in, who like to pump balls into the box, I go, you know what? We're going to see what Harry can do. He's done well at Goodison Park in the past. That's all I want to get to. But today was an eye-opener, especially if you're on Twitter. There's a lot of anger out there, and there's a lot of stored up anger towards certain players. And what makes me really laugh is, and it doesn't make me laugh, I wish it did, was that last week when Maguire got booed, there was these, I mean, it's a derogatory term, but I'm not going to use it, in fact, it's derogatory. But there are these fans who think they are better than everybody else. Super fans, right? So they're like, I know Goldbridge doesn't want Maguire to get booed, but his slating of him subconsciously makes people boo. So he's responsible for Maguire being booed. Absolute claptrap bollocks, right? Most of those people today are the people going in on De Gea. And I think, so hold on a minute. This is not about supporting your club. It's nothing to do with that. This is about you being right. This is about everyone should back Maguire, but everyone should slag off De Gea. Well, you're just hypocrites, because you're just like everybody else. You've got opinions, but you think your opinion's right, and that's very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous when people think that they're God's gift and they think that everything's right. You're not God's gift. You're not. Your name's not Jesus. You probably wear fake tan, and the big knob you go on about is the one on your forehead. You're just a knobhead, basically. That's what you are, because you're a hypocrite. And at least I can sit here and say De Gea is one of my favourite players, and I'll be loyal to him. I think he's built that loyalty in my mind. I'll always have his back, because I think he's had the club's back. I think he's delivered. Maybe I'm a bit blinkered. I put my hands up to it. Maybe I'm a little bit blinkered. But on the other hand, the players that I don't really rate, I'll never say they haven't had a bad game. I'll never say they've had a bad game when they haven't. I'm not interested in that, because all I want is United to be good. And, you know, I almost feel that if you use somebody like McTominay as an example, and I'm not saying that everybody dislikes McTominay, but I'm just using him as an example. I almost feel if you said we can draw with Brighton or McTominay can score 2 goals and be man of the match, people would say I'll take the draw, which is just completely foreign to me. I don't understand that. I can't compute that. I'm like, he can score a bloody hat-trick for all I can say. I don't care. He can do it in a Liverpool top. I'm not even bothered. As long as we win the game, and if he plays well, that's an advantage. There is no Ronaldo replacement, really. No idea why we haven't been in for Scamacca. De Gea deserves better than what was posted. It's just player bias, as SK. Look, I don't like doing this, because I have an opinion, and my opinion is my opinion, and I won't change it for anybody, because it is my opinion. But I do think, you know, sometimes people are right. We have got a big community. We do have a responsibility. And all I can say is, and I'm pleading here, I'm absolutely pleading, is that we've got a new manager. Don't bring your baggage from last season. And what I mean by your baggage is your bias, is your dislike, is your hate. I don't trust a lot of these players from last year. God, I do not. I really don't. But I am not bringing baggage of, I want Shaw over Malacia because I like Shaw. Let the battle commence. I'm not bringing baggage of, you know, I want Varane over Maguire and Maguire's a bag of shit. If Maguire plays better and Varane doesn't play well, he deserves to play. I don't want to bring that. I don't think, and ultimately, you might think, I don't really understand the mindset anyway. Let's take the guy or girl on social media today who's calling David De Gea vile names. What's your solution? We can't even buy a midfielder or a winger. You really think we're buying a goalkeeper? We're not getting Henderson back on loan. That goalkeeper is our goalkeeper. So basically, you're telling me you're on social media calling our goalkeeper every name under the sun. Fuck off out of our club. Get out of our club. And a lot worse. And your brain is so small, you've not even figured that that goalkeeper you're slagging off and hating is our goalkeeper this season. Do you think that's constructive before a ball's been kicked in the Premier League to be hating on a goalkeeper and putting it out how much you hate them? There's no solution. There's no alternative. There is no money. And there is no reserve goalkeeper to come in. He is the goalkeeper. You're destructing our season by doing what you're doing. You can be constructive about what he's doing. You can say, I don't think he's ever going to be good enough. But the anger of frustration, I mean, it reminds me of certain people in fan content world who used to do this at another club. The anger in their eyes, the shouting that people used to laugh at and go, oh, it's funny, I'm going to tune in. It wasn't funny, because I can read people like some people can. That wasn't pantomime. Their eyes were anger and hate-filled. And I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You can be banter. You can be despairing. You can be frustrated. But the anger and the hate, that's vicious. This is our goalkeeper, and he's going to be our goalkeeper this year. It's destructive, and it's destructive for the manager. I get you want certain people to play. I get you want us to improve. But think about it. If you hate De Gea and you don't want him to be your goalkeeper, tough shit. He's going to be your goalkeeper. We've got no money for a goalkeeper. We've got no backup in the squad for that goalkeeper. So think before you try and be the next bloody Troops or whoever else who shouts and screams and DT and all that lot. You know, for one, that's had its day. And for two, we're not Arsenal. And maybe they had alternatives. We don't have alternatives. And we've also got a new manager. So let's try and be responsible. I'm certainly going to try. You know, I'll put my hands up. I've done it in the past as well. But at least in the midfield, there are alternatives. At least at centre-back, there are alternatives. We've got what we've got. And I think the bottom line is we've got to try and be supportive of the manager. And, you know, I don't agree with the manager giving the captaincy to Harry Maguire, but I've watched 3 games with Harry Maguire as captain, and not once have I gone, fucking get that off your arm, you twat. It is what it is. And he did well. He did well today. And I want the manager. You know what? As well, I want the manager to be right. I want him to prove me wrong because Sir Alex used to do it all the time. I remember when the team news used to come out, and some of you will be old enough to remember this. I remember a game against Leeds at Ellen Road, and he dropped Beckham, and I think he played Luke Chadwick, and I was like, "Oh, this is the beginning of the end." We were down the pub in Dublin, and I said, "This is the beginning of the end," and everyone agreed. This is it. The bubble's burst. He's losing it. He's lost it. And this would have been 2000, maybe 2001. Someone will look it up. We won 1-0. It was a scrappy game, but we won 1-0. I think Chadwick scored, actually. I'm not 100%. But we won 1-0. And he was right. And we were there a few points in at the end of the game. We went, he's not lost it, has he? He's a bloody genius. He knows exactly what he's doing. And I want that situation. We haven't had a manager like that since him who... And people forget, you know, some younger people won't know and older people forget that in the days of Sir Alex, it wasn't a bed of roses. He did get criticised even when we were winning things. Like, we'd win something and not buy people. He'd go, why ain't he bought anybody? And then he'd go and win the league. Like, he'd prove you wrong because he was brilliant. And I want Ten Hag to prove us wrong. I really do. Why hate on De Gea? I'm a Liverpool supporter and it wasn't for him. You would have finished like 14th, maybe relegation. That's like hating your mum when you're a roof over your head, says Nathan. Look, it's not even about that, Nathan. It's about... I just don't... I think the world is changing and I think society is changing. And I think you look on social media and if you dislike a film that someone else likes, it's not just why did you dislike it, what were the points, it's you're a fucking nonce and all this sort of stuff. It's the vile nature of social media that basically encourages and allows people to be really abusive. But, you know, I've witnessed that, I'm sure you've witnessed that, but we're now seeing it with our football club, whereby somebody makes a mistake in a game and they're absolutely vilified and hated and abused, and it's never right. It's never right, and I just don't think it's really going to be something that is going to help us build this football club where we want it to build back to be. And I think as hard as it is for some people, you've got to find a way to be, less like that. Because how do we move forward? Criticism is fine. You know, I've seen the mistakes. I saw the mistake. He should have done better. But context is key. And, you know, for every mistake he made last season, I think he made 10 really good saves as an alternative. But also, it's not a problem to solve for now. I mean, I thought we'd had this conversation about 2 months ago. It's a big season for De Gea. He doesn't naturally suit Ten Hag. I think he is on trial. And I thought we were all happy that he was on trial for a year. And we look at it next summer. And Dean Henderson's at Forest. And maybe there's an opportunity for him to come back. But people want to fast play it and make it a drama all season. Like, let's just see how it pans out. There's nothing we can do about it in pre-season. We've got loads of other things to do. It's almost like who can shout the loudest and be the most vile in the hope that they'll get noticed. And I just don't think it's the time for doing that. I really, really don't. But, you know, there we are. I miss them days when August was near and you knew we was going to be in a title race, but we're United, win, lose or draw, says Johnny. Thank you very much. A lot of people asking me to check Twitter. I think we just got a bunch of twats in the chat, to be honest, tonight. There's nothing majorly going on other than the things that we spoke about at the start of the show. I'll just have one tour de force of the socials and make sure that I haven't missed anything. And then I'm going to get myself my beer out my fridge, and then I'm going to watch Heat, one of the greatest films ever made. And it's going to be live on Twitch in about 5 minutes' time with me. So if you've got nothing to do on a Saturday night, or I'm a better proposition, you can sit back and watch one of the greatest crime thrillers ever made with one of the best shootouts ever. And it's going to be on my Twitch channel, and you can watch it on there. So join me for that. Thanks everyone for tuning in. One thing I will say, whether we completely disagree, whether we agree or we're sort of on the fence, this is what it's about. This is what life should be about. The ability to communicate and have a conversation and debate. and not just be, I'm right, fuck off, you're a twat, this, that, and the other. That's nothing. I've done lots of jobs in my life. I've been in lots of situations in my life, and I'm sure many of you have. And the person who shouts, fuck off, you're a dickhead, tends to be a dickhead. The person who actually discusses things and resolves things tends to be the more intelligent person. And we need to be like that, because you know what? It was all good fun 5 years ago. I remember playing a game in London against DT. We got into a bit of a scrap. It ended up in the Daily Mirror. You know, at the time, it was fun. But I look back on it, it was embarrassing. And that whole era was embarrassing around fan content. You know, shouting, screaming, aggressive. It was embarrassing. And I don't look back on it with any love at all. And I don't want us to go back there as a football club. I really don't. I don't want to go back to that. Nobody wants us to go back to that. Because one, it means we're not performing. But two, it's just not constructive. And it doesn't help the manager. I hope we don't go back to that. Thanks everyone for watching. The link's in the chat if you want to go to Twitch. I'll be literally live in 5 minutes, so get yourself a drink. We'll get that film up and going, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Thanks for watching.